What's up everyone? Today I'm doing Bash from HackTheBox. This was an extremely easy box created a couple years ago by Arexel. And if you're just starting out, I think this one is a great way to get some practice with some pretty common tools. We start this box off with our nmap scan, and we only see port 80 open, so when we investigate the web server, we find a web shell, and that gets us direct execution on the box. We look at ways to pivot, and we find that we can run commands as script manager, and that gets us over to the user script manager. And for root, we find a script that's running as root, and we exploit that to get a reverse shell on the box, and that's root. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to start this box off with nmap sv sc oa. We'll put it in the nmap directory, and we'll call it bash. And the IP address is 10.10.10.68. I've already run this, so let's take a look at the output. And we can see that there's only one port open. So let's go ahead and take a look at it in Firefox. Okay, and we see PHP bash helps a lot with pen testing. I have tested it on multiple different servers and it was very useful. I actually developed it on this exact server. So this is a hint that maybe there's something on the server. This link right here just takes us to GitHub, and this takes us to another page, and it looks like maybe in /uploads there's a php bash.php. So we could go to uploads /php bash.php, and we don't see anything. So we can come back over here and we can run gobuster, which is just gonna directory brute force. It's not really a brute force. We're gonna give it a word list. So I guess it's like a directory dictionary attack. But so we'll go into directory mode. We'll give it a URL, which is 10.10.10.168. And we'll give it a word list, which is, we'll do user share word lists, dirbuster, directory list 2.3 medium, and we'll let that run. And so while that's running, we already see we're getting some results, images, uploads, PHP, so we could go look in PHP to see if there's anything in there. And we see send mail, but nothing really there. What else do we have? We have a CSS and a dev directory, and the dev directory looks like it might be interesting. So when we check that out, we see we have php bash.min and php bash. So when we go here, we see that maybe this is running some kind of shell. So we could say hostname, see if it's running commands, and it looks like it might be. Cat etc hosts. Who am I? It looks like it's definitely working. We are www data. So from here, what can we do? We could get a reverse shell in the box, because can I change? I can't really change directories, I don't think. Oh, I can change directories. And it changes down here. I guess we don't need a reverse shell in the box, but it's going to be easier to just work from our own terminal, in my opinion. So I'm going to head over to Google, and we're going to look up pentest monkeys reverse shell cheat sheet. And we'll see if we can run this Python one. So we'll come over here to the web shell, and we'll type which Python to see if there's Python on the box, and it looks like there is. So we should be able to get away with this reverse shell if there's not any firewall or antivirus or anything. So this is what I'm going to want to run, and we can see that it is listening on port, or it's going to run against port 1234 and this IP. So we want to change that to be our IP, and my IP is 10.10.14.41. So we'll come up here, change this to 10.10.14.41, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to set up a netcat listener to catch the reverse shell on port 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll paste this in and we'll go check it out. And it looks like we did get a shell in the box. So we can run those same commands just to double check. Who am I? Host name, ID. We're on bash as www data. We're not a part of any cool groups other than www data. So from here, this shell is pretty ugly. We don't have tab completion. So we could run python -c, import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash. And you see we get a cleaner shell, but we still don't have tab completion. So we could hit Control Z to send this to the background. And we could do stty raw -echo, and then type foreground. And you're not going to see anything pop up. Do that hit enter a couple times, and now it looks like we have tab completion. So we're good there. Hit no. We can clear this. Oh, term isn't set, so we can just export term, xterm, clear that. And so now we have a fully functional shell. So from here, what can we do? We can see if we go to the home directory, can we see anything in here? We see Erexel and script manager. Let's see if we can go into the script manager directory. Anything in here? We just see a bash history and a .nano directory, so we could look at the bash history. Oh no, we can't. We can't read it. And it looks like we are able to read the nano directory, so is there anything in here? There's not. So let's go back and check out Erexel's. And we see user.txt. Can we operate on it? We can. So you could cat this, and that would be the user flag. So we've got user, so we need to get to root. From here, we can look to see if we can run any commands as another user with sudo -l. And it looks like we can. We can run script manager with no password. We can run anything we want with no password as script manager. So the easiest way to pivot over to script manager is just going to be to run a command as script manager. And we could do a reverse shell if we wanted. We could do that whole Python shell again, or we could just run bash as script manager, which is what I'm going to do. And so this gets us over to script manager. And same thing here, can script manager do anything cool? We don't have the password, so no, probably not. So what do we do from here? We can go try to read that bash RC file, or that bash history file, to see if there's anything in there. And there's not. So another thing we could do is we could see if we own any cool files or anything at all outside of our home directory. So we could look in the root directory, and the user that we're going to be looking to see who owns what is script manager. So we're gonna find, starting in the root directory, everything owned by script manager, and we'll just send all of the errors to dev null so it doesn't clutter up our terminal. So we see a lot here. So I'm gonna do that same thing, but I'm going to invert grep for this, which is just going to cancel out those results. So same thing, find in the root directory, the user we want to check ownership for is script manager. All errors to dev null, and we're going to invert grep for proc. And we see we have home script manager, all the stuff in our home directory, but we also see we own some stuff in scripts. So if we go to scripts, what is in here? we see a test.txt that is owned by root that was created a minute ago. And we see a Python script. So what is the Python script? Looks like it just opens test.txt, writes testing123, and closes it. So if we look at test.txt, we can see testing123, but it's owned by root. So that means that this was run again since we last looked at it, because if we go back up in the terminal, we can see it was created at 7:49 and then 7:50. So we see that it's being updated and it's owned by root. So maybe this is running and then it's running as root and writing that to test.txt. So a way we can take advantage of this, since we can write to this file, is we can just overwrite it. So I could write echo and open quote and a new line, and so this is just going to echo everything I type. So we could do user bin python, and we could say echo hello, or I'm sorry, print hello, and we're not going to see any output from this because it's running as root, but it's not going to output to our terminal. So this is pretty much useless. Okay, so I changed my mind. What we're going to do is we'll echo, and we'll do user bin python, and we're going to do this exact reverse shell again. The only issue is I need to go in and change this to single quotes because it's going to kill my echo down here. So I'm going to come up here, change all these to single quotes. And I'm going to copy everything up until the other single quote, because this is all the Python code. Control V or Control Shift V, enter, and then we'll close quote. And look, so it echoes this. So this is perfect. So I can just hit the up arrow. Well, or I could run the last command with 2 exclamation points. Okay, maybe I can't. It works here. So if I run echo hello, and then I run 2 exclamation points, it'll echo hello again. But it doesn't seem to work here. We can just copy this again, and we can echo user bin python, our reverse shell, enter. We're going to close the quote, and I'm going to write this. I'm going to redirect what we're echoing into test.py. And so we see that test.py is here. So we're going to set up our reverse shell, listening here, and we'll see that maybe in about 30 seconds this should run, because it looks like it's running every minute. So we'll give this a couple seconds. Looks like it's coming up on being a minute. Few seconds left. Oh, there it is. And so we get our reverse shell. So from here, who am I? I am root. And we can read root.txt. So this is a pretty easy box overall. Like I said, I think this is a great way to get used to some tools. We get used to upgrading our shell to one that's easier to maneuver. We get to use gobuster for some directory brute forcing. We get to test out a reverse shell. So this is a great intro box, I think. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week.